parents need to supervise, but supervise it in such a way that you don't behave like the teacher or the school situation that the child is not too happy with when it comes to homework. But we are
so should we be turning the TVs off, televisions off?
I will prescribe that.
Or move the child to another.
Yes, or move the television to the bedroom. Move the TV to the bedroom. There was a student I taught in St. Mary's. She's now doing, I think she's finished her medicine in Russia now. I don't just want to mention her name. I don't have her permission to do that. And she was a day student. The father really chose the situation, the day student situation for her. And I asked, how come you're a day student? You come all over from Ashalibutre to St. Mary's and you are doing so well. He said, yes, but I have only 3 hours of watching TV a week. That is on Friday, 1 hour, Saturday 1 hour, and Sunday 1 hour. That's all. The rest of the week, when I get home, I'm supposed to concentrate on my work. In this case, the daddy did not deny the child completely television. But when you do that, it also it's got its own backlash effect.
Okay.
What the daddy did is that it gave the girl an opportunity, but controlled opportunity. Choose whichever program you want to watch within that 1 hour. But you have it on Friday, you have it on Saturday, you have it on Sunday. Holidays is a different story. But school term, you are supposed to concentrate on your books. But this is a child in secondary. That it will not have a back effect.
That should mean that parents need to know exactly what to do at which stage.
Absolutely.
When it comes to education and helping their children.
Absolutely. They need to. You see,
where would the parents get this education?
Well, one is from your platform.
Right.
See, we need to be talking about these things the more. Because we are assuming that parents should know. Where could they know? I mean, how many parents have done education as a program? No. You see, you have brought a child into this world. The onus is on you. The primary responsibility is on you to fashion this child to become who he or she should be. When you take this child to the school environment, all that the school can do is to help polish what you have created fundamentally. And at every stage of that polishing, as a parent, you should be interested. You should be interested in who teaches your child. You should be interested in who befriends your child. You should be interested in the type of conversations that your children engage themselves in school. There are things that you will prevent your child from watching or listening to that somebody else will bring to school on your blind side. So you should be interested in that. So how many parents will have a conversation with their children, engage them in a conversation, say, how was school? How was the teacher? What did you learn? Who and who did you talk to? What did you, when you start it from early age, it becomes a practice that the child is comfortable with. But when you begin to start doing some of these things in GSS or SSS, I can assure you, you will not get any information.
No mind you.
No mind you at all. But it should be a way of life.
This is Women's Voice. Today on the program, we're looking at parenting and education. If you have some concerns as parents or you're a teacher, you have some contributions, you can send your comments and your questions to the number 0245780116 up on your screen. My guest here is Eric Angel Carbono. He is Vice President of NAGRAT. To homework, there are parents who would tell you that I don't know what is being taught in the school. How am I supposed to supervise homework such that my child gets it correctly?
Yes, this is a dilemma or a problem for a lot of parents. Yes, indeed. Look, if I'm a parent who is not too educated or too literate, You don't expect me to, even some of us who are very literate, there are certain mathematics that the kids are doing these days that when they put them before us, we are totally at a loss. So I'm stressing that before a teacher gives homework to children, make sure you've taught the topic and the subject so well that the child is just going home to practice. And in this case, the role of the parent is to just ensure that you have done your homework. As to whether the contents of the homework is correct or wrong will be determined the next day when the child goes to school. And I'm also saying that teachers should not punish children for not doing their homework well. If the child is not doing the homework at all, there is a need for you to have an interaction with the parents and try to see what type of house or home setting do they have. Do they have an environment that is an obstacle to study or that is not conducive for study? Have an engagement with the parents and see whether you can repair or educate the parent to repair the seemingly bad situation. Don't expect the parent to be able to work. Look, look, me, I'm not too very good in mathematics, and then when you bring,
even though you're a teacher yourself,
teacher myself, and then when you bring differentiation in economic or mathematics, please, there's no way I'm going to help the child to be able. I can help the child to make sure you do your homework, but the contents of it, I'm not a science teacher. So there are certain aspects of science I will not be able to teach. It will be the teacher who will teach those things. So the content, I don't think the parents should, unless you know it.
Right.
But the content itself, I don't think that is the job of the parents to do.
There are parents who feel that to have their children do well academically, there must be the extra classes hours. They must get an extra classes teacher. What do you make of this?
You see, a child gets extra classes teacher when the child is deficient in an aspect of his or her study. So for example, when a child is weak in maths and you identify that this child is weak in maths, you will need to get that child a maths teacher to pay a little bit more close attention to him or her and to see whether you can identify, because of that one-on-one or close attention, you can identify the weaknesses of the child and help repair the weaknesses of the child. You know, so that is more or less like paying extra or special attention
to fix a problem.
That is what extra classes is supposed to be. But you see, Salikem, you see, we have created a monster and we are now having difficulty in controlling that monster. We have laid too much emphasis on certificate, as if the certificate determines the intellect of a child. That is not so. Look, I have my junior brother, the one who just comes after me, Ken. He's called Ken. He's a musician. He plays. I'm sure
yes,
you know.
Yes, I've heard about Ken.
Yeah, Ken plays music very well, and he lives on his music. But I want to tell Ken did not go to any music school to study staff and solfa notations. But he plays everything from Bach to Chopin to Handel flawlessly and perfectly. This is a natural talent that he has developed. Okay? So if Ken is not doing well in physics when we're kids, it means he's got a strength somewhere that should be identified. That is how we should be.
But there is no time for that, to identify that.
Because we have not created that environment. Look, we are in a country where when a child is perfecting himself in art, the parents want the child to be a lawyer. But we've got a lot of lawyers that we are even beginning to question whether they actually even went to law school. You get me?
Right.
Then you want the child to be a medical doctor. And you know, there are some doctors that when you get into their consulting room, you wouldn't want to get into their consulting rooms again. You want your child to be a pilot, and all that he will do in his life is to dream about flying and all that. So it's like, it is as if we have selected certain professions and they have become star professions, and everybody wants the child to be that. Every child cannot be that. You understand? So we have created a certificated type of environment. So look, if the child at that level is not doing well in one subject, but the child does have a strength in another area. If a child, there are some young people who are doing certain jobs now who could have been very good electrical engineers,
right,
but nobody tolerated them going that direction, you know, so they've lost it completely in that direction, and they are even not happy in what they are doing today. So this whole extra classes thing is because I want my child to make 8 A's.
Exactly.
Look, the fact that a child
is there any empirical evidence?
Yeah. Yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. It abounds. It abounds in life. Look, I'm going to give you some examples. Winston Churchill wrote his ordinary level more than 5 times. Bill Gates failed his examinations in college. Charles Bramson was not good academically. These are successful men and women in society. When you come to this country, Ghana, and because we are in Ghana, I wouldn't mention names, just identify the top successful businessmen and entrepreneurs we have in this country and go and check their academic backgrounds, whether they were any good in school. You understand? We have abundant proof that there is no relationship between academic excellence and being successful in life.
That's a dicey one, because then, right, you finish and then I'll come.
I know the question you wanted to ask. Then it is not necessary to study hard. Is that what you wanted to ask?
No, because you need to qualify.
Yes.
You need to pass the BEC to get into SSS.
Yes. Oh, but of course. To
do well in the SSS to get into the tertiary.
Yeah, what do you mean by well? You see, to pass the BEC, that test exam, every average student should be able to pass. But if you are talking about the type of pass that will qualify you to Wesley Girls High School, St. Mary's Senior High School, Achimota,
and that's the pass that all parents want.
Because you want your children to go to Achimota, St. Mary's, and Wesley Girls. But who tells you that the child who attended Leklebi Secondary School is not as brilliant and as intelligent as the child who went to Achimota? Who is saying that? And who is telling you that because the child had A and went to medical school, that child is going to be the best medical doctor? In other enclaves, you just need average passes in science to be a medical doctor, and people have turned out to be very, very good medical doctors. It is the diploma mentality that we have created in our country. Look, I met a friend, and the last time I met him, he's just finished his PhD. He had 2 masters, he's done his PhD, and he has never worked before. And I said, my friend, are you aware you are growing old? School, he's never done any work before. And I said, my friend, what are you going to do with all these? You may be able to read text and contextualize issues, and that's where it ends. I'm not saying it's not important to study hard. No, I am questioning the value in overemphasizing certification as a means of success. That is what I'm talking about. Right. And we need to review these things. Let us also find out whether where the first class students of our universities are vis-a-vis those who had second class, upper and second class, lower, and even third class. Let us do a test and see whether it is always true that the first class students are successful in life. Go and check and see. And you'll be surprised the outcomes that comes to you. Everybody enters into society. You Selikem, you did not do journalism in the University of Ghana, no. But you're a very good journalist and a very good presenter, because naturally you have developed yourself in that area. That is what you come out of school to do. You come out of school, look at your strength, work hard in your strength, and develop yourself in those areas.
How, for instance, do parents identify the interests of their children?
You should start identifying them at early age. Look, you know the temperament of your children. You know the child who would like to be manipulative, try to change issues, work with sport gadgets and so on, and then you know that. You know the child who is a little reserved, you know the extrovert and the introvert and so on and so forth. You should be able to identify these things. And then sometimes when you are even watching TV with your children, you will see the areas that some of your children have interest in, the type of films that they like to watch, and so on and so forth. And then you can also look at it from the performance in school. You realize that when it comes to practical work, this child does excellently well. But when it comes to the theories, the theoretical subjects, the child does a little bit poorly. All these things begin to tell you gradually what the child will want to do.
Is it possible you could get it wrong as a parent in identifying the interests of your child?
Yes, absolutely. You can always get it wrong, because you can get it wrong when you are also jaundiced in trying to tailor guide your child into a certain area, sometimes consciously and unconsciously, sometimes consciously and unconsciously. I come from a very illustrious medical family. My grandfather was a medical doctor. My father, my uncles were doctors. So a child of mine should be a doctor. For none of your children like science. Therefore, you become very disappointed. You understand? It reflects on you consciously and unconsciously. The child wants to be an artist to paint. What the hell do you want to paint for in this life? You are a failure in life. Once you use that word on the child, you are a failure in life. Even when the child paints perfectly, the child will look at the paint and say, I'm doing this, I am a failure in life. That is something no parent should allow to come from his or her mouth. No child is a failure in life. Every child expresses him or herself differently.
Is it also possible that parents are pressuring their children academically?
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yes, because they want everybody. They want them to be the best in schools. They want them to be the best academicians. They want them to come with 9 A's and so on and so forth. They do that always.
So there's that constant pressure, and then you find that when they take their report slips, they are unable to go home.
This is how it goes. This is how it goes. Well, let me just be a bit personal. I used to worry. You have a sister that's out of your. It's tell your sister, because you are so different in terms of, Sometimes you bring results home.
Right.
The elderly child, full of praises. Then the second born, A, C, B, D. Why are you so useless? That's where it goes. You start dampening the spirit of the child. For all you know, he may be a late learner. For all you know, he may be somebody who have not grasped things well. For all you know, he's not found his rhythm yet. Encourage them. Tell them how to study. You understand? I'm somebody who is trained in talking to young ones how to study. I'm a trained person in that. There is a way to study, to grasp what you are studying at different ages. You understand? There is a way to study. And when you're able to help the child to know how to study, a time will come where the child knows what to do and what not to do.
So there's a more effective way to study.
Oh, yes, sure. There's a more effective way.
We need some tips on that.
Oh, yeah. But
parents are looking forward to some tips.
Yeah.
Let me hold it here. This is Women's Voice. Today on the program, we're looking at parenting and education. My guest is Vice President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Eric Angel Kabano. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll begin to read some of your messages coming in and intersperse with a discussion. Do stay with us. Welcome back. This is Women's Voice. Today on the program, we're looking at parenting and
should audit and interrogate our content, our syllables, and our tests, the tests that we give to our kids. We need to even interrogate that seriously. Because let's say